what we need to do is continually assess, how am I showing up? I've said mine a million times. Mine is, I am humble, authentic, and vulnerable. That's my definition of leadership. And when I first came up with that about 7 years ago, maybe 8 years ago now, I wasn't anywhere near the level of humble, authentic, and vulnerable as I wanted to be. It was aspirational for me. It was for me to be able to measure, how am I going on my progress to get there? And when I realised I was actually there was when I exited an environment. I had over 200 comments from, of support and thank you and stuff on a Facebook post of me exiting that environment. And there were 3 words that stood out: humble, authentic, and vulnerable. And I was like, well, I've got goosebumps again. I was like, fuck, I'm actually showing up, because people are reflecting it back to me, which means that is who they're seeing me as. That's what it should be. It should be visceral. It should be part of who we aspire to be, what's meaningful for us. And 10 or 15 years ago, if I had said to myself, oh, your definition of leadership is going to be humble, authentic, and vulnerable, I would have laughed in my own face. It would have been, you need to be like efficient, get shit done, and make stuff happen, or something like that, right? That's what it would have been, because it was very in the head, very like working 100-hour weeks, achieving not a lot, because there was just too much noise, and no focus, and no distraction. Probably closer to 20 years ago now, but same point. One of the things that is important, I feel, is what are feelings? They're a type of energy, aren't they? Have you ever felt when someone's pissed off, and they didn't say anything, but you knew they were pissed off? Who's felt that? Or someone's upset, or upset with you in particular? Because it's energy. Feeling, emotion is energy. And we are receivers. We are open and receiving this stuff all the time. Sometimes you'll go somewhere, you'll walk through a room, and you feel a bit off. You're like just something's changed, something's shifted. It's because we've felt somebody else's energy that's had an impact on ours. Who's worked with sand in the room before? Who's worked with sand? Yeah. One of the things I learned to do a couple of years ago was to do muscle testing, so I can do the same kind of muscle testing as what sand does. And I do it for myself, and I also do clears. And I'll feel now so acutely that even if I have a conversation with someone on the phone, or I'm on a Zoom, or I can be walking through the foyer of the hotel, and I feel my state change. I feel it literally change. So I'll test it, and I'll realise that I've picked up somebody else's stuff. And so I'd clear it, and then I go back to feeling like my normal state. And it makes me wonder, how do people get through life when they don't understand this stuff? It's so powerful, because if you look at a quantum physics level, everything is energy. That's energy, we're energy. The energy's just created a certain form. Thought is energy, emotions are energy, because it's all energetic. We're all made of the same stuff. So we can affect people. We can feel things from other people, and therefore people can feel stuff from us. They feel if we've come into work and we're like, not only if they see us, but you kind of resonate like a heat if you're pissed off or upset. You know what I mean? It's almost like this, all that, what was that movie? Inside Out. Yeah, that's a great representation of that. I remember when I did some work with Sand on a process of releasing some internal kind of anger and rage stuff, that she had me envisage something, and it was that guy with the fire. I'm like, yeah, that feels like me sometimes. Right? When as we know with the archetypal stuff, when my wolf would come out, bit too much. Different emotions have a different frequency. Things like anger and fear and guilt, what do they feel like? Tense, what else? Heavy, right? If you're feeling joyful or happy or having fun, how does that feel? Light. There's a book I've revisited recently by David Hawkins. It's called Power versus Force. And he created the map of consciousness, right, which is this. Right down the bottom, there's the heavy feelings like shame, guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, pride. And not until you get to 200, which is courage, is when it starts to shift. And basically he says that from 200, below 200 is a negative emotion, and above 200 is a positive emotion. So one will pull you down, the others will lift you up. Which is interesting that courage sits there, because courage is like making the choice. It's having the courage to actually move forward and raise your frequency. This also shows where, I suppose, the emotional development of somebody is in their life. And who spent time down in the red in their life, by show of hands? Who spent time there? It was pretty shit, wasn't it? Right? I had clinical depression for 17 years, and that was a place that I visited and kind of lived many, many times. I was in that shame, guilt, apathy, grief. I was lucky if I got past 75. So that's a frequency. I'm putting out a vibration of that frequency. What do you think I got back? The same stuff. Who's heard of the expression that they're a shit magnet? Everything wrong happens to them. They keep attracting it, and then more and more and more. It's like they're putting it out there, and it just keeps coming back, or they're just a sucker for punishment. No, but they're not aware of what's happening. Where are they sitting on this scale? And knowing how we feel and where we are, it helps us to go, okay, well, where do I want to be? Where do I want to live? What do I want to feel day to day? The minimum for me would be, on any given day, would be 400 to 500, that range. That's a minimum where I want to sit. I'm standing here sharing more energy I am with you than words. There's more behind the words than just the words. If we're just listening to just the words, I could just talk monotonal like this all day and you would just take it in and you'd fall asleep in like 5 minutes, right? It's different. It won't land unless it's energetic. And think about when you're passionate about something. How do you speak to someone when you're passionate about it? What happens? Faster, enthusiastic, energized, right? Because you're lifting up on this frequency here. The frequency's going up. And what happens when the frequency goes up? You lift other people around you. Have you had a friend who resonates much higher and you're feeling a bit low, and they lift you up, they help lift you up just by being around them, just by having a conversation with them, just by connecting with them? Has everyone experienced that? And likewise, that someone's down low, and if you're a little sensitive that day, you might get pulled down, you actually start feeling lower. Right? That can happen as well. But when we're conscious about it, we stop letting people drag us down. We can hold that place or remove ourselves from that situation if we start feeling like it's dropping our level. It's setting another boundary, a healthy boundary as a leader, as a self-leader. I do not want this situation or this person in my life because they're too negative. Move away. Who's got negative people in their life? Show of hands. Or had or have. Keep your hand up if it's family. Okay, no one's hand went down. When we're at a higher frequency of positive, we learn tools to help us stay there or get there. There might be, maybe you should do some journaling, or you do some meditation, or you go for a walk because it lifts your state, or do some exercise, whatever it is, right? There's these tools that you have. So you might be sitting at 350, 400, and there's these tools, and you're out there doing it and everything. But then you get pulled down, and you get pulled down to like anger or fear. Where do the tools go? You forget them. Have you ever noticed that? That you forget those tools actually work. It's like the tools are at a different frequency, so you can't see them anymore because you're not operating at that frequency. And in Atomic Habits, is it James Clear, talks about the way to create a habit or sustain a habit, or failing in a habit is a poor system to support the habit. So if you create a system that means that irrespective of where you are, you know what the tools are and you can revisit them, that'll help you bring you back faster. You also cannot create from 100 what you can create from 400. You can't. You can't go put it out into the world and create it because it doesn't match. It's it's like tuning the radio station to the wrong station. You're not going to get the right station because it's tuned to the wrong station. That's it. This freaking blew my mind, right? This, because I read it in the book and then I heard it in 10x is easier than 2x again. And I'm just like, freaking hell, how is that possible? And in his studies, and he studied for many years in this, he said that approximately 80% of the global population function between 100 and 150 on this scale every day. That's why I use a reference to NPC, because my son Aston, was probably 6 months ago, we're walking through Sunny Plaza, like the shopping centre, and Aston goes, "Hey, Daddy, is it just me? A lot of these people here are just like NPCs." And if you don't know what this is, like if you're playing a computer game and there's like someone there going, or dancing in the background or some crap, right? They're not actually a character. It's just programming, and they just have a specific program they run. And he goes, "It's just me. A lot of these people, they're kind of like NPCs." And he's just turned 15. I'm like, and this is the thing, that 80+% of the population are functioning at this level. And he said, of that 80%, the average increase in their lifetime is 5 points. What do we think is holding people under 150 or below? What do we think is doing that? Media, societal expectations, what else? Programming. Yeah. Their story. Environment, absolutely. Parenting, peers, money, don't want to change. That's right, absolutely. People have to choose it. It's the red pill or the blue pill from the Matrix. Which one do you want? I'm just going to stay here. It's comfortable. Comfortably numb. Pink Floyd, show my age. Nobody in here I see functions day to day from that. You guys are all much higher and aspiring to something more. Is anyone on their local Facebook community page? Anyone? And someone puts, hey, has someone got a recommendation for a lawn mowing person? Oh my God, they just get roasted. Doesn't matter what it is they put up there. All these idiots put shit on there. And like, I don't know why I look at it. It just frustrates. Oh, I think I'm just going to get out of that because it irks me so much. I don't get it. Anyway, I digress. Some people, however, grow hundreds of points in a very short space of time. And I don't mean like in a week necessarily, but I mean over 5 or 10 years seeing people evolve so dramatically, so incredibly quickly because they're doing the work. What is the work? This is the freaking work. This has been here for years. Most of you have probably forgotten to read it for a while. Your level of success is directly proportional to the amount of personal development you're willing to undertake. It's doing the work. Why don't a lot of people do the work? It's too hard. I'd rather be comfortably numb and just do the same thing and go to the same place for a holiday every year and drink the same 2 cases of beer every week because it numbs me down. I don't have to think about my problems or my issues. And this is not a judgment on anybody. Right? This is reality. This is how it is. Things like alcohol, drugs, I would say the pharmaceutical and medical industry. Why? Control. Because if too many people start functioning or operating at a higher level, that starts to create a threat to that control.